So this right here is the brand new TUF Gaming F15 laptop from ASUS. And it kind of looks like they listened to some of the feedback that was going around because they actually changed a few things and made this laptop better. So the CPU now has 8 cores instead of only 4, the gaming performance is better, and they even included a webcam this time around. But this F15 is still meant to be an affordable gaming laptop, so you shouldn't expect models that come with a high-end GPU or high-end display options. It should just offer, a lot of gaming performance for your money. Now, unfortunately, I don't have exact prices for most regions and for different configurations, but here in the Netherlands, this exact model right here should launch at around 1,400 euros, and it comes with an 8-core i7, a 95-watt RTX 3060, 16 gigs of RAM, and 144Hz 1080p panel. So let's check it out. This video is brought to you by LG and their brand new OLED TV, the G1. It offers the best picture quality you can get from a TV. It has a fast 120Hz panel with VRR support and near instant response times for all your gaming needs. And when you combine its fantastic infinite contrast, beautiful vibrant colors, and the fact that the improved EVO technology lets this OLED panel go even brighter than before, the HDR experience will be unforgettable. Check it out using the links in the description below. So this F15 isn't a laptop that's trying to be the lightest or the thinnest option on the market, but it is trying to find a good balance between value and mobility. It is a 15-inch laptop with a weight of around 2.3 kilos, and it is 2.5 centimeters thick, so it is pretty mobile for a gaming laptop. It is mostly made of plastic, so it doesn't look or feel super premium, but it's actually built quite well and it feels pretty sturdy overall. Now, there's not that much flex in the panels, the hinges are solid, and it just feels like it should handle regular everyday use completely fine. It does have a bit of a gamey design, but it is nothing over the top. It is easy to open it up with one hand, and on the inside you will find the typical ASUS gaming keyboard, which I think is pretty comfortable and very familiar if you ever worked on an ROG laptop before. It has a nice tactile feel to it, and it's just really pleasant to type on and to game on. It even comes with a numpad this time around, which is always a plus for me, and the backlight is RGB, while the Dash F15 from a few months ago had a single color only. Now, the touchpad is pretty okay as well. I mean, you shouldn't expect miracles, but it feels pretty smooth and it will do its job just fine. I do like the fact that they included physical buttons, though I would still warmly recommend to get a mouse instead. I was really happy to see that ASUS is finally adding some webcams to their gaming laptops. On quite a few of their previous models, they actually skipped on the webcam because I think they felt that gamers won't really need one, which is also true. But given the current state of the world, where most people are just working from home, I do think it is wise to have one after all. This is the test of the camera and of the microphone of the new ASUS TUF Gaming F15 laptop. And as you can see, the quality is actually quite okay, and I think it's going to be completely fine for a meeting or a school Teams thing that you need to do, and it will do just fine. When it comes to connections, you get a single USB 3 port on the right side, and on the left you get an Ethernet connection, HDMI 2.0 port, 2 more USB 3 ports, and a USB Type-C port with Thunderbolt 4 support, which is really nice to have. Before jumping into performance graphs, I do want to talk about some of the different performance settings that this laptop comes with. So there are actually 3 modes that you can choose from: silent, performance, and turbo, with performance being the default mode this laptop comes with. Now, usually, the default profile should be the most balanced one, and the turbo profile pushes temperatures way too high, for my comfort, just to look a bit better in benchmarks. But on this laptop, the turbo mode actually looks very good. It does make it a bit louder compared to the default profile, but it shows much higher CPU and GPU clocks while keeping very comfortable temperatures. Now, the performance mode is nicely balanced if you want to keep the noise down a bit, but if you're serious about performance and you're gaming with a headset, just go for turbo. And that is also the mode that I will be using in all of my benchmarks today. As for the silent profile, it's quiet enough and great for doing some light work, but you should not game on it, as the CPU and the GPU will be getting a lot less power. Now this laptop comes with a brand new Tiger Lake processor, the i7-11800H, and it is a 10nm high-performance CPU with 8 cores and a TDP of 45 watts. And it is fast. Now when it comes to multi-core performance, it actually scored the highest of all laptops I've tested so far, outperforming the Ryzen 9 5900HX and 5980HS, and also the older i9 10980HK. When it comes to single-core performance, it ended up just behind the 5980HS and the 4-core 11370H, but it's still very much up there. Now looking at the Blender results, it managed to set a new record as well. Now most of the CPUs you see in the top of these graphs are so close to each other that it doesn't really matter which one you pick. Any of them will be able to handle any CPU-heavy task easily. Now, when it comes to gaming performance, it kind of really depends on which game you're looking at and which laptop you're comparing this one to. Unlike the Dash F15, the new F15 clearly isn't CPU limited, so comparing this new F15 with an RTX 3060 against the Dash F15 with a quad-core i7 and an RTX 3070, the new F15 looks really good. It is considerably faster in CPU-heavy titles like Far Cry and Assassin's Creed. It is just as fast or faster in most other games, and only in really GPU-heavy titles like Doom, for example, the RTX 3070 is able to pull ahead, but even then, the difference is really small. However, ASUS is sticking with Nvidia Optimus on the F15 that cannot be turned off, while some of the competitors opted for a mux switch to manually swap between the integrated graphics and the RTX GPU, or they simply just don't allow Nvidia GPU to switch off at all. That means that the F15 should do extremely well in the battery test, but its gaming performance will be slightly lower compared to similarly spec'd laptops with a mux switch. And we see exactly that when I compare this F15 to the MSI GF65 Thin, which has a weaker CPU and a lower power 3060. Now, ASUS is faster in some games, but the MSI is faster in others, and I would say at the end, they kind of, balance out. But you need to consider that MSI has weaker specs, and you should expect laptops with this i7 and this 95-watt 3060 that do include a mux switch to perform a bit better than this F15. But overall, if we look at all of the frame rate averages, this laptop can easily play most, if not all, of the latest titles on high or ultra settings, with DLSS really helping out in those extremely heavy titles like Cyberpunk, for example. But the upside of Nvidia Optimus is battery life, and this F15 is able to run Netflix for around 8 hours, while the MSI GF65 Thin just over 5. So you need to decide for yourself what is more important to you. Do you want a laptop that just focuses on gaming performance, or you want a laptop that offers a good gaming performance but also a great battery life that will last you most of the day? Now, one little side note here, this F15 has a 4-cell 90-watt-hour battery, but ASUS is also listing a smaller 3-cell 48-watt-hour battery on their website, which will probably cut the battery life in half. Now, it will totally depend on your region, which battery options will be available to you. So if battery life is what matters to you, make sure you get a model that has the 90-watt-hour battery. But while the GPU and CPU performance showed pretty good results for a laptop that focuses on being cheap, this 144Hz display definitely fits that budget price class. I think it's very nice that ASUS is not hiding this fact from their product page, so you know what you're buying at the start, but the sRGB color gamut is disappointing and simply not good enough for anyone who is remotely serious about any type of creative work. Now, the display just cannot display all of the colors you need, and everything is going to end up looking a bit washed out. The factory calibration and the color accuracy are poor as well, and even if they try to calibrate it, the panel still won't be able to show all the colors you need. Now, contrast is also fairly low, the maximum brightness isn't great either, and it's not the fastest panel in this already lower-end class. It does come with adaptive sync, which is great for gaming, and I would say as long as the price remains low, it will be completely good enough for gaming. But There should also be a much better 240Hz option available, and that one has a 100% sRGB coverage with much better color performance. So personally, I would pay a bit more to get that panel instead. Now, I was positively surprised by the speakers on this laptop. Now, you shouldn't expect a fantastic experience from built-in speakers, but it goes loud enough to watch some content comfortably, and it actually sounds pretty clear. It is definitely, I would say, on the good side of average. And the internals are well done as well. You can easily clean the fans, you can replace the battery, you can replace the SSD or add a second one, and the Wi-Fi chip is replaceable. And if you have troubles finding it, it is right under the SSD right here. It is Wi-Fi 6 though, so you won't need to replace it just yet. And I would say I'm really happy to see that both memory sticks are socketed and can be upgraded if you want to. And that is pretty much all I have for today. I'm really happy they managed to fix a few of my main issues with the Dash F15. So you get a high-end 8-core CPU instead of a 4-core one. They included a webcam, which will be a big deal for a lot of you looking to combine a good gaming experience with school or working from home. If you mostly care about gaming, it is very important to remember that laptops that offer the same spec and a mux switch will still perform a bit better in games. But if you want a gaming laptop with an excellent battery life, these Optimus models are a pretty good choice, and performance, I would say, is still very solid all around. The only real issue is the poor color performance of this 144Hz panel, but that is something you will find on most laptops in this price class. And if you want to do some creative work as well, something that this machine is more than capable of performance-wise, you should get a model with a 240Hz panel instead. And that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, and if you want to see more content like this one, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to never miss an upload. Bye guys, and see you in the next one.